Dear President Sigong, distinguished guests, colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, good morning, good evening, good afternoon, no matter where you are. Please allow me to welcome all of you to this distinguished lecture organized by the PolyU Academy for Interdisciplinary Research, or PAIR, at the Hong Kong Polytechnic University. My name is Chen Qingyang. I am the director of PAIR. So at PAIR, we encourage members from different faculties and departments to pivot away from their primary discipline to come together to engage in large-scale interdisciplinary projects. By pooling our members' knowledges, skills, technology, resources, networks, and minds, we can focus on innovative topics that cannot be done by a single discipline. So we hope that the PAIR can help turn research ideas into physical products with the commercialization potentials and solutions with the societal impact. So PAIR currently consists of 11 research institutes and 5 research centers. We have more or less about 500 senior researchers working on the areas like smart cities, advanced technologies, and then the well-being of humans. And last year, we have a total research funding over 550 million Hong Kong dollars. That's quite a lot. And we would like to continue to grow stronger and generate the solutions for the impact. So now I would like to invite our president, Teng Jinggong, who is the president of Hong Kong Polytechnic University, to give a welcome remark. Professor Teng is a member of Chinese Academy of Science and also received a lot of honors. So I just don't need to read everything. Professor Teng, please.
Okay, thank you, Yang. Good evening. I guess it's late enough to say so, or maybe good afternoon. It gives me, well, since you are really in different parts of the world, it gives me great pleasure to join you all at this distinguished lecture organized by the PolyU Academy for Interdisciplinary Research, or, it's known by its acronym PAIR, P-A-I-R. This is our version of the Institute for Advanced Studies at Princeton, but ours is more to do with applied sciences and engineering, because the position of the university is to benefit society more directly, addressing societal challenges. Of course, that's why I sometimes say to Zhang Xiang, president of Hong Kong U, I say, we don't study the universe, the origin of the universe, or the meaning of life, but we study 衣食住行, everything that you are concerned with for daily life. I still remember, I had the chance of honor of meeting President Sigong on the 13th of July. I just found out from the internet that you came to Westlake when I was a VP for research. And I remember we succeed with such a model. I think it's quite a new challenge that I think Yigong has to face and address. So I look forward to learning more about the latest thinking and development of this new university. And especially, as I've said, it's actually in my hometown, because Zhejiang province, I was born and grew up in Wenzhou, which is not far away from Hangzhou. Wenzhou is part of Zhejiang. I did my degree at Zhejiang University, graduating in 1983. Yigong had just told me that his grandparents were students of Zhejiang University, so that's wonderful. At the Hong Kong Polytechnic University, our positioning, we've been doing a lot of things. And recently, the council of the university asked me to tell them what is the culture and cooperative culture and positioning of the university. So we are going to say that we want to position ourselves as an innovative world-class university. By innovation, we want to be nurturing, we want to have innovative curriculum to nurture innovative talents for the industries and society in Hong Kong. Of course, our research needs to be translated into innovation that will benefit the society. We want to be innovative in everything we do, including management and service and leadership. So you have to have an innovative approach in everything we do. That's, I'm sure at Westlake you have to be innovative in everything, because you have a new question. You cannot refer to others for answers. In the area of education, we have recently established, actually it's going to be formally established on the 1st of January. We are going to have this Institute for Higher Education, Research and Innovation. So this is one thing. We have just appointed an interim director. We will appoint a formal director. Not so easy to find one who is a leading scholar in his own field, but also very interested and with expertise in educational issues. This is somebody we are looking for. If you have a good name, you are most welcome, and we hope you can let me have the name. This morning, we just approved a new center under the Institute for Higher Education, Research and Innovation is called IHEARD. It's the acronym is IHEARD. And under IHEARD, we're going to have a center for immersive learning. And this is to make use of technology such as metaverse, virtual reality, mixed reality to enhance learning. So this is another thing we're going to look at. And this will be a joint center between PolyU and the Hong Kong Education University of Hong Kong. So these are the two things I want to mention at this stage. Okay, so I should not take up too much of your time, and I'm sure that an exchange like today's lecture will be very important for us to learn from each other, learn from the pioneers in educational reform, their wisdoms and inspirations. So I would like to welcome and thank Professor Si Gong most warmly on behalf of the university for accepting our invitation. So let me now pass the stage to the time to Professor Si Gong. Thank you.
All right. Yes. Let me thank you very much, Professor Teng. Let me ask Professor Chris Chow, our Vice President for
sorry, I should not pass it to Si Gong.
To give an introduction of Professor Chris, please.
All right, thank you very much, Professor Chen. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, or good morning or good evening to some of you. It is of great pleasure and privilege to introduce our distinguished speaker today, Professor Si Gong, who will talk about the latest educational reforms at Westlake University with respect to university operations, governance, talent recruitment, student development, research and academic evaluation, and also interdisciplinary studies. The founding of Westlake University was designed with high-end leadership and innovation-driven development strategies that fill the education, technology, and talent needs in society. With its aspiration to be a small but versatile research-oriented university that starts at a high level, Westlake University is committed to building a modern university system with Chinese characteristics through practice and exploration, thereby opening a new chapter for diversification of China's higher education. President Xi is an academician of the Chinese Academy of Sciences, the deputy chair of the China Association for Science and Technology, and a member of the 13th Chinese People's Political Consultative Conference. He is also a foreign associate of the United States National Academy of Sciences, as well as an honorary foreign member of the American Academy of Arts and Sciences. President Xi received a doctorate degree in molecular biophysics from Johns Hopkins University in 1995, and has been contributing to the higher education sector relentlessly, both in terms of scientific research and higher education administration and development. He used the biochemical and biophysical methods to study the molecular mechanism of cell apoptosis the structure and function of important membrane proteins and intracellular biological macromolecules. His research outputs provide essential knowledge of protein structures for understanding various kinds of human diseases and developing the pertinent clinical drugs. President Xi received numerous international awards for his research achievements. For the interest of time, I'm not going to read the long list of the awards he has received. President Xi joined Princeton University as an assistant professor in 1998, and he was promoted to full professor in 2003, taking him only 5 years to attain full professorship at Princeton. He joined Tsinghua University in 2008 to head its biology department, then soon became the dean of the School of Life Sciences, and finally served as a vice president of Tsinghua University. He is a core member establishing the Westlake Institute for Advanced Study, the predecessor of Westlake University, and became the founding president of Westlake University in 2018, hailed as the father of China's Caltech in media. Without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming Professor Xi Yigong.
Okay.
Professor Shi, please.
Okay. I'd like to start by thanking Chris for that warm introduction. I'd also like to take this opportunity to thank Qingyan for your kind invitation. It is truly a great honor for me to be here. Listening to Jingguang reminds me the good old days of visiting SUSTech quite a few years ago. So for the next maybe 30, 40 minutes or so, I'd like to tell you a story that is still unfolding. Because the story is still unfolding, so I will not try to, let me first share the screen. Because the story is still unfolding, I will not pretend to tell you the story has been successful or has been completed in any way, any sense. And because the story is still unfolding, I've decided not to rehearse how to tell the story. Rather, I completed making the presentation, of course, PPT presentation, just a few moments ago. 5 minutes ago, I compiled my last slide and sent it to the organizer. So I will tell you basically exactly how things have been developing at Westlake University and why we are here and why so many talented scientists are coming to Hangzhou to pursue their dreams on the campus of Westlake University. It is an experiment. And so we are here doing an experiment in higher education. Let's move the lenses to 44 years ago, 1978. That year, I think, is quite important in the history of modern China. Towards the end of 1978, to be precise, I think it's December 18, 1978, the third plenary session of the 11th Central Committee of the Communist Party of China decided to implement a strategic policy of so-called reform and opening up. That policy, of course, as everyone online understands now, has changed China fundamentally. 8 days later, on December 26, 1978, the first cohort of 52 visiting students and scholars, average aged 42, I believe, left mainland China for the US. I think they boarded the same flight, arrived in San Francisco and then Washington, DC. Their arrival marked the beginning of scientific and scholarly exchange between mainland China and the US since 1949. 5 days later, keep in mind, 5 days later after that, on January 1st, 1979, China and US restored their diplomatic relationship. 4 weeks later, the legendary Chinese leader, Deng Xiaoping, made a visit to the US. I think that year marked maybe the beginning of full-fledged exchanges in all areas of the society between two sides of the Pacific Ocean. That year, close to 1,000 Chinese students ventured to the US to pursue advanced degrees. The following year, the number doubled, and the number kept doubling. By the time myself, Yi Gongxi, went to the United States in 1990, there were 20,000 of me-like, meaning college graduates, went to the US alone to pursue PhD degrees. Think about that movement. Basically, we call it studying abroad movement. Altogether, from 1978 to 2019, more than 6 million students chose to study abroad, and more than 4 million have decided to return to China to pursue their own dreams back in China. In the past 10 years, if you look at the chart on the right-hand corner on this slide, more than 80% of Chinese students who went abroad to pursue degrees have decided to return to their home country after completing their studies abroad, which has had a great impact on every corner of the Chinese society: education, science and development, and business and legal realms, everything you can imagine. And of course, China's studying abroad program, I believe, is the largest such program in the history of humankind. And this program really results in major changes in China in every aspect of society. And I think in part propelled by the forces of science and technology and others, China now has become the world's second largest economy. And because of China's open door policy, there have been enormously improved access to colleges and universities across the board in China. By today's time, and there are more than 40 million students enrolled in colleges and graduate schools in China alone. So China, as you can tell by numbers, is becoming a great nation in science, education, and aspects. It's advancing into the next era. And as a beneficiary of this reform and opening up policy myself, I think I probably symbolize, represent, my generation. I've been very thankful to this policy and the consequences. And we perhaps have something in our mind for a long time already, maybe a dream. That is, perhaps we can reciprocate, meaning we went to the US and Western Hemisphere for advanced studies. For the past 44 years, more than 6 million Chinese students have done so. How about in the future? Because China is becoming stronger and better in every aspect. Can we play host to perhaps tens of millions of foreign students, maybe in the next 40, 45 years and beyond? I think if you think about our community, we share the same globe, we share technology, we share almost everything you can imagine, you can think of. I think for a shared global community, reciprocation, communication, collaboration, cooperation, I think are the only way of moving forward. Perhaps potential reciprocation of student exchange will have our future facing a brighter perspective. In an even bigger context, we can relate this thinking to something else. If you think of China, we always think of China as a great, one of the 4 ancient great nations. In ancient times, China contributed 4 great inventions to advance human civilization. These include papermaking, gunpowder, printing, and the compass. However, I think everyone online understands in the past 300 years or so, China has benefited greatly and single-handedly, and perhaps in some sense, one way, from scientific and technological breakthroughs made by other nations, literally made by scientists and engineers and and talented individuals by other nations. It's not that China has not made her own contribution. We have, but the contributions we have made in no way are commensurate with the scale of the population, with the size of the nation, and with our history. So I'm predicting, and I think people online probably agree with me, and there is a great dream that has been, I think, that is in everyone's mind for some time now. That is, China probably will pay her return to the benefits that she has received for the past maybe 300 years. One aspect is perhaps in the next 100 years or so and beyond, China will contribute a much larger share of the scientific and technological breakthroughs to humanities and the world. Let me summarize. I am just, a student pursuing my dream 30-something years ago, crossing over the border, gained a advanced degree, and worked in the US for about 10, 11 years. I loved my home country, of course. I returned. I remain thankful to the education and research experience and career that I enjoyed in the US. It's a global community. We share the same community. There are more than 4 million of me type in China. And this situation around myself and my colleagues and me like individuals, I think is everywhere in the world, because we share the same global community. Only by exchanges, only by collaboration and engagement can we make the world better. It's the same case in higher education. I think, and many of us believe, the time is ripe. Of course, now it's 2022. This situation remained a little unclear 11 years ago in 2011, when our dream of making a university was first born. And what that means is actually the dream of founding a university was sparked by a conversation that occurred in the summer of 2011 at the Western Returned Scholars Association main site in Beijing. At the dinner meeting, some of us, including Han Jianwei and Chen Shiyi, discussed strengths and weaknesses of education and research in China and in Western Hemisphere. We discussed ways of moving forward. We became a little bit critical about things, about research culture in China. And then we were challenged by a senior colleague, by a respected individual at the dinner table. That's Professor Han Qide. He challenged us by asking the following question. Look, you guys were all born and raised in China. You are well versed in Chinese culture, and you know the advantages and disadvantages of Chinese education. At the same time, you have all lived abroad for many years, sometimes over 20. You have all worked as faculty members in notable universities overseas. You know the advantages and disadvantages of foreign education. Why can't you work together to create a small university in China to leverage the strengths of both sides for the betterment of humanities and the world? That question from Professor Han Qide really made all of us truly excited. I must tell you, actually, I stood up immediately at the time because I could not hold my excitement. That was a dream. Of course, a dream many times cannot be realized, will never become reality. Having this dream of building a university, I think had been the mind of many of my colleagues and myself. But actually building a university from scratch could be insurmountable task as we understood back then. But even as young as at the time, just 43, 44 years old, I had not put that into action. But the question from Professor Han reminded us, myself included, that dream could become reality because we probably will enjoy widespread support from the society, from several generations of Chinese around the globe, not just in China. So that was basically how the concept of building a small university of research type was born 11 years ago. And let me skip, a few things in between. Let me fast forward to 2015. The picture you see on this slide, on the left-hand side, are 7 of us, from left to right: Qian Yingyi, Zhang Hui, Pan Jianwei, Rao Yi, myself, Chen Shiyi, and Wang Jian. We were putting our hand on the same piece of paper. We all promised to adhere to the same principle, to join forces to create a new elite university, a research university, a university funded by both public support and private support that enjoys a greatest support from all sectors of society. So to do that, we also proposed to the central government by submitting a proposal for piloting a new type research university. By the way, Jin Guang was asking me just ahead of this lecture, and he basically, also in his opening remarks, he asked he would like to see how Westlake University as a minban, perhaps funded by the society rather than by the government, would proceed on Chinese soil. How that university could succeed in China. So let me make it clear at this very moment. Westlake University is not a private university. It is not a typical public university either. What is it? Westlake University is the first new type university in China because on our birth certificate, the Chinese Ministry of Education used the Chinese words 新型 for the first time, basically new type, for the first time, I believe, since 1949, perhaps in the history of modern China. So we are the only new type university on paper approved by the Chinese Ministry of Education in China. Of course, this new type means a lot of things, which I will, elaborate one by one in the next several slides. On this slide, let me first tell you a brief history of Westlake University, and then I'll expand on the philosophy, on our culture, on how we did it, and why we are here. So, following our proposal to the government and following endorsement of our proposal, we quickly put into action. In June of 2015, we signed an agreement to have a strategic collaboration between a bunch of us and the municipal government of Hangzhou province. Oh, sorry, Hangzhou, the city of Hangzhou. And that agreement basically says the municipal government of Hangzhou will build a campus for Westlake University. And we, meaning a group of 7 at a time, will be in charge of faculty recruitment and student training and other logistics. So to do that, we decided to build a foundation. So Westlake Education Foundation was registered as a fundraising vehicle of Westlake University in July of 2015, more than 7 years ago. Keep in mind, this foundation precedes Westlake University. In fact, as you will see and will know for sure, Westlake Education Foundation, or simply WE Foundation, I'm using the 2 initials, Westlake Education, WE Foundation is the sponsor of not just Westlake University, but also its predecessor, Westlake Institute for Advanced Study. That institute was registered in December of 2015, and this institute was used as a vehicle to recruit top talents from overseas and to train grad students to begin with. And then the next year, in July of 2016, we launched our first global academic talent recruitment. So basically, because we had little in Hangzhou at the time, actually the first interview was staged in Beijing, outside the campus of Tsinghua University. That's part of our history. Then later that year, in December 2016, we had the founding ceremony of Westlake Institute for Advanced Study. Keep in mind, Westlake Institute for Advanced Study is the predecessor of Westlake University. Then, on top of the institute, we began to recruit talented scientists from all over the world and to begin to ask for permission to train students. In fact, the first cohort of 19 grad students arrived on our campus, a very small one, in September of 2017. We have 19 brave students who actually had chances of enrolling at Tsinghua, Beida, Zheda, etc. But they chose to come to our small campus, Westlake University, actually Westlake Institute for Advanced Study. Then in February of 2018, the Chinese Ministry of Education formally approved the establishment of Westlake University. In April of the same year, the first meeting of the founding Board of Trustees was held in Hangzhou, and I was chosen to be the founding president. And two of my colleagues, Xu Tian and Qiu Min, became the founding vice presidents of Westlake University. Here you can see the three of us taking a picture. On October 20th, 2018, Westlake University was formally founded in a grandeur ceremony shown here. Now let me elaborate on the founding philosophy. Actually, in Chinese, we have 9 Chinese characters. 高起点, 小而精, 研究型. In English, I try my best to translate. Actually, it's not so accurate, but I think you can understand. So-called 高起点 means research first, because this university is founded by a group of scientists who returned from overseas, who were trained, who were born and raised in China, who are well-versed with both sides of the culture, who are leading scientists in their respective disciplines. We believe we should begin with training doctoral students. By doing so, we can quickly gain international reputation. We can quickly exploit our advantages as leading scientists and engineers in the world. So we decided to begin with doctoral programs, and only when we believe we are ready will we begin to to recruit undergrad students, which we did in 2022, this year. The second philosophy is quality, but not quantity. This means both faculty and the student. In terms of faculty, we decided we will reach a steady size of roughly 300 faculty, headcount 300, in about 10 years' time. But we would prefer all 300 faculty members to be exceptional in their respective research fields. They should be leading their respective research fields. The third philosophical point is we emphasize interdisciplinary focus. We prioritize groundbreaking discoveries in interdisciplinary areas. We are committed to technological breakthroughs in these areas because we believe interdisciplinary areas are rich in future discoveries. They will give birth to fundamental transformation of our human society. So built upon these 3 elements of founding philosophy, we have moved along in the past 4 or 5 years. Now let me explain our logo, because this is part of our culture. By explaining the logo, you will understand what we stand for. To the left side of this slide, you can see our logo. And if you are familiar with Chinese characters, you can quickly recognize it is a Chinese character, Xi, or West. Of course, it is the west of Westlake. It indicates university was born and raised and based in China, in Hangzhou, in Zhejiang province. If you look closely, we have two initials, W and U, intermingled, within this Chinese character, Xi. So the lower half of this logo, so that stands for our ties with the rest of the world. So by having this logo, you immediately understand this university is between China and the world. It's built in China. It stands for China and the world. We never want Westlake University to only serve China. It serves humanities and the world community. That's Westlake University. And above the two initials, West W and U, you see this gold bridge. The bridge symbolizes, of course, exchanges, collaboration, cooperation. It's a bridge linking China and the rest of the world, linking past and future, linking technological breakthroughs into the future. Basically, we are a window of China, in China, to contact the world, to invite talented individuals, students, staff, faculty all over the world to come to Hangzhou, come to Westlake campus, to join us together, build a university in Hangzhou for China, for all humanities, and for the world. Last but not least, if you look at W and U, the two initials, we have four lifting hands or arms. These four arms together symbolize support from all sectors of the society. Actually, we can be more specific. They symbolize individuals, enterprises, government, represented by We Foundation. So 4 arms. So this logo really says our culture, what we stand for, and really says Westlake University is truly international. So to elaborate a little bit more, we emphasize diversity, inclusiveness, openness on campus. Of course, in China, Chinese is official language on campus. So is English. We want individuals from all other nations feel they find their home on the campus of Westlake University. All science courses at present are taught in English. We do enroll international students at both undergraduate student level and doctoral student level. They are treated equally, the same. They are in the same dorm area, same cafeteria. They are fully intermingled. We have a very tolerant, inclusive, diverse, open culture. We uphold ethical standards of the highest level in the world. And of course, just having an international feature, just building a new university in China is not enough. Think about it. China has more than 3,000 colleges and universities. Why does China need one more small university? Why does China need just one more research university of small size? You have to have your own uniqueness, unique contribution to the Chinese society and to the world. In fact, that's exactly our strength. Westlake University, for her smallness, for her diversity, for her international feature, we are fully ready to experiment on reform. In what areas? We decided we can make explorations in 3 areas. 1, university governance system. That is, how can we find a new and efficient university governance system that works exceptionally well in China? What that means, we observe all rules in China, satisfy all boundary conditions. We also reference international rules and obey international standards, how can we do that? How can we do that well? We believe there is a way moving forward. We can do it quite well, as you will see. Number two, we would like to experiment with a new, different research evaluation criteria. Let me not elaborate why we would like to find a new research evaluation criteria. But I think everyone understands China is now ranked either number 1, number 2 in any number-based research evaluation. If you look at number of papers published, citation, high impact paper, hot paper, etc. So we are good producing numbers, but we are not so good at producing quality. Okay, so at present, China's innovation index in the world stands at 11. So what that means is there are 10 nations, many of which are very small in size and in population, are ahead of China in terms of innovation. That contrasts China's numbers. Why is that? Because there are issues with China's research evaluation criteria. We emphasize number. We emphasize rigid formats of evaluation. In China, we call them 4维, 5维. So I think for a small university like us, we are ideally suited to find a new research evaluation criteria that works in China, that can help China move forward better, serving the world better. Third, I guess that's last but not least, we want to find a different way of training students, both at graduate student level and undergrad student level. We want our students to become exceptional young scientists. We want our students to have social responsibility of the utmost extent. Basically, they will keenly recognize their social responsibility before they go on into their own professions, on their way to way to become mature scientists. So Westlake University aims to achieve breakthroughs in cutting-edge research and technologies. Of course, that's our goal. But experimenting with these 3 levels of reform will have our uniqueness in the Chinese society. And another element of, I guess, uniqueness for Westlake University is, again, I'm alluding back to Jin Guang's earlier comments. So how to build a university of different kind, a new type in China. Because we are new, we have no references to how to build a university of our type, new type. We decided one way to proceed, maybe the only way to proceed, is to have widest level support from all sectors of society. That means individuals, enterprises, government. In fact, we have achieved this purpose, this goal. Westlake University enjoys very strong support from the government, all 3 levels, from the central government, from the provincial government of Zhejiang, from the municipal government of Hangzhou, even as well as the local government of Westlake District, Xihuqu. At the 4 different levels of government, they gave us different supports, all important for past and future development of the university. But that's not enough. We are also enjoying extraordinary philanthropy from private donors and private and public enterprises. Keep in mind, We Foundation is a sponsor and funding and fundraising vehicle of Westlake University. They are the organization that receives donations from all sectors of society. They are connecting Westlake University with the society. They are incorporating social resources, societal resources, to promote the development of the university. Because of our uniqueness and because of our goal, and because of our vision and dream and our unique place in China's higher education, we are enjoying enormous support from society, not just within China, but around the globe. We have donors coming from Latin America, from South Africa, from several nations in Africa, many nations in Europe, Russia. The entire world, we have over 24,000 individuals and hundreds of enterprises who have made donations to Westlake Education Foundation. Listed here on this slide and next are the founding donors of Westlake University. They have each committed a large sum of money to Westlake Education Foundation. I applaud their passion, their support for higher education reform in China. They are the true heroes behind the scene. So as I said, Westlake University is experimenting a new university governance system. The core element of the governance system is the board of trustees. Yes, Westlake University is governed by the board of trustees. I, as the president, listen to and, of course, obey the collective decision of the board of trustees. The board of trustees at the moment consists of 28 members. They make strategic decisions on all important matters of university. Of course, they decide on the president, vice president. They decide on all rules and regulations, important ones. They are functional in all major aspects of university life. I am the CEO, essentially, of the university, taking order from the board of trustees. The board of trustees is working very well at Westlake University as a core element of the governance system. Within the university, with approval of the board of trustees, we implement an operation principle, that is, faculty for scholarship, staff for administration. These two elements remove faculty members from, if you will, miscellaneous chores. Faculty members can save their time for research and teaching. Professional staff make commitment to administration to serve the faculty, students, and research staff. The relationship between the faculty and staff is dictated by the third sentence. That is, scholarship dictates administration. What that means is faculty compiles the rules, staff executes the rules. By doing so, we are different. We are away from bureaucratic procedures of what is usually lamented in the open space, in the public space. Let me not go too far away. And to make sure Westlake University can sail further and longer in the international arena, we have established an international advisory board, which has 20 current members. A large majority of these are not Chinese nationals. They are experienced educators, scientists, entrepreneurs. They are feeding us with healthy advices on how to exchange, how to develop, and how to cooperate, and even how to dialogue. So we maintain regular and constant contact with our IAB, International Advisory Board. Within the university, we have a university council. It is a statutory body established based on the rules and laws of China. The university council safeguards the establishment of Westlake University. Now let me summarize in 4 or 5 different ways on our current state. First is faculty recruitment. Of course, for a modern university, for a new university, for any university to be notable on the world in terms of research, you must have a world-class faculty. That was the goal at the very beginning in 2015. And that goal is being realized as of today. We have made headways in faculty recruitment. We have received more than 20,000 CVs applications from talented scientists from all over the world. I think they come from 74 different nations and regions, hundreds of institutions. After screening, we invite, I think, more than 1,000 for interview. At the moment, we've made 200. We have accepted. We have made offers to. I should say we have 202 exceptional scientists who have signed up our offer letter and have become faculty members of Westlake University. Among these, greater than 90% come directly from overseas institutions. Make no mistakes, we never approach. Basically, we only advertise Westlake University overseas. We only focus on internationally, basically a faculty recruitment. It's not saying we are not recruiting from domestic institutions. We do. For fresh postdoctoral fellows who are fresh on the job market, for individuals who are in line with our vision and philosophy, and they apply to Westlake University, we look at their applications carefully, but we don't proactively look for applications in domestic institutions. We believe for those 3 million or so Chinese individuals who have gone overseas to pursue advanced studies, many of them have become exceptional scholars in their respective research fields. They are our main targets. I shall say, at the moment, these 202 faculty members are our core strength for everything. Basically, we are leading in many research areas, many research directions, because each of these 202 faculty members, at the time of the recruitment, we have made an assessment. Each one of them must be leading in their respective research discipline. So I shall say we have 202 world-class faculty members on site. Every scholar, each scholar brings his or her unique strengths to the campus of Westlake University. So shown here is just a few. Let me not go through one by one, but we have individuals coming from really all over the world. Not just US, not just Japan, not just Western Hemisphere, from all over the world, from more than 70, 80 institutions. Shown here, let me introduce Xu Tian from Yale, Vice President for Academic Affairs. Vice President Qiu Min here. These two, if you remember one of my earlier slides, stood along my side, appointed by our first board of trustees, the founding board of trustees as vice presidents. I also like to introduce our 3 deans. Executive Dean of the School of Science, Professor Deng Li, a former chair of chemistry from Brandeis University. Professor Yu Hongtao, pictured here in the middle, a former Howard Hughes Medical Institute from UT Southwestern. And Professor Cheng Jianjun, pictured in the middle below, Dean of School of Engineering, former professor from UIUC. Let me not go on further. So each individual brings a unique strength to our campus. Now on the second point of summary, if you will, of course, we build an institution to attract faculty members is for the purpose of training students. To begin with, we are training PhD students. By this time, we have enrolled more than 1,200 PhD students. In fact, more than 30 have already graduated. They have become our alumni, PhD students. They have gone on with their research careers, both in China and around the world. In the year 2022 alone, we enrolled more than 350 PhD students. Of them, more than 60 came from overseas institutions directly. Starting this year, 2022, we enrolled our first cohort of 60 undergrad students. Let me not elaborate how we train these PhD students and undergrad students in detail, because I think I'm probably running over time. So let me go a little bit faster, okay? And if you want, you can have a screenshot of student education, and we can discuss afterwards. With students and faculty on campus, we emphasize interdisciplinary culture. From space to system to meetings and cultures, we try very hard to have an international culture, interdisciplinary culture, to have a culture of inclusiveness. Of course, once we have a world-class faculty, which we already have, once we have great students, which we already have, we have began to conduct scientific research on the cutting-edge fronts on many different areas and directions. To assist research exploration, we've built platforms in School of Life Sciences, School of Science, and School of Engineering. We've built more than 170 independent laboratories, each managed by our what we call doctoral advisor, basically principal investigator at the moment. So we are making headways on all fronts of research. We are supported again by the government and by private philanthropy on all areas of research. To save time, let me not elaborate. In fact, even though we rarely publicize our research advances, we have begun to make headways in the frontiers of biological sciences, chemistry, physics, engineering disciplines, and a few others. Just to name a few, at the beginning of this COVID pandemic, we've made contributions in the science of COVID investigation. Professor Zhou Qiang, actually at the time, less than 40-year-old, analyzed the full-length structure of ACE2, the receptor of SARS-CoV-2. That's the first time we, humankind, visualized how a virus might invade epithelial cells in the lung. Of course, that's just a snapshot of 2 proteins at atomic resolution. But that's, I think, very important as a first step to understand the disease biology and disease mechanism of COVID. Then in the mid-year of 2020, another young investigator made headways into how to judge Guo Tiannan. He made headways into how to judge a person just infected with COVID virus, whether this person would have, how much chance the person might have to advance into late stage, heavier stage, heavy symptoms by testing the blood combined with AI technology. So Guo Tiannan was able to make the prognosis at least a few days ahead of time. I think that was also the first at the time in the world. Then last summer, meaning summer 2022, a team led by Yu Hongtao made their disclosure on anti-COVID oral drug known as WPV-01. I think their compound in preclinical testing has remarkable efficacy, remarkable effects against all variants of COVID virus. Now it's in clinical trial. I think it's nearing end of phase 1, about to go into phase 2, 3. Because we are still in COVID pandemic, I listed 3 examples, but I shall say we are making headways on all fronts of life sciences, among others. Let me now listing other examples at this very moment. So all of a sudden, I come to a screeching halt on my presentation. It looks a little sudden. I guess what I'm trying to tell everyone online is Westlake University has been formally born for more than 4 years. What you are seeing here is a picture of Westlake University. And here I have Chinese characters, and you can tell what it means. We are here already, and you can say for sure Westlake University has been born for a better future of our shared global community. We are born in Hangzhou, in Zhejiang, and in China. We serve Hangzhou, Zhejiang, and China. But not just that. We are an international university. With dreams in our mind, we serve the global community. We serve all humanities. It is built for all humanities and the world. With that, I'd like to conclude my story and entertain any questions you may have. Thank you so much for staying to the end.
Oh, thank you very much, President. Your lecture is very inspiring. I stay also abroad for almost 40 years, and I can share from my own experience. This is really great to see how you really come into establishment of the Westlake University. So just for the audience, you might ask a question through the Q&A button at the bottom of your screen. And if you have any questions, just type in there, and then I will try to summarize the questions and then ask President now. So the first question we have is under the Chinese special educational system, how difficult you have experience in reforming the Chinese education? Maybe you can share a little bit.
Right. Thank you, Qingyan. So I shall start by saying we are grateful to the Chinese Ministry of Education for allowing us to experiment with the 3 levels of reform, meaning university governance and new research criteria and new ways of training students. And we have been given a special set of policies that are designed to experiment with these 3 levels of reform. So for that, I very much, of course, I shall say, we, me, myself, and my colleagues. And, but as you can imagine, in a large nation, China, to experiment with any reform is challenging because you have enormous momentum that has been ongoing for some time. If you want to break away from a fast-moving, bullet train, it's difficult. So I don't think we have any obstacle per se. I don't think we have any resistance per se. We just have policies and documents and rules and everything that have been set up specifically for the past, let's say, for the past and for the present, but not quite for Westlake University. So that's a challenge. So everything we do, for example, for undergrad student enrollment, we wanted to have students who take part in college entrance examination, but not decided solely by college entrance examination. But the question is, how can you quiz students differently? What way do you give to this quiz, to these quizzes? How can you make your system better than college entrance examination? How can you pick the best student without irking the public? I think all that, is challenging. And another, so let me list another example. we try to have different ways of enrolling grad students. Everyone understands if you have a bachelor's degree, you can apply for doctoral program overseas, let's say in the US, directly. In China at the moment, once you are away from campus, let's say you work in a company for 2 years, then you want to pursue doctoral degree, you have to apply for master level program first, right? Mm. So even that, think about it, is still the format and the rule in China. And so basically, I guess what I'm trying to say is, speaking of challenges, speaking of difficulty, I don't think we have deliberate obstacles, but we have status quo. We are facing status quo. We are facing the policies and rules that have been set up to advance China's higher education and research. Perhaps 10 years ago, 20 years ago, I think those policies worked quite well at that stage, but they are now perhaps becoming somewhat, not obsolete, but somewhat limited in some sense for some institutions. And we happen to be one of such institutions trying to make headways in uncharted water.
Great. Yeah, thank you for answering that. The following question is, I try to combine a few of them because you try to take the advantage of the Western education and also Chinese education. So how the Westlake University balance this, and then just very similar to Hong Kong, around 2000. Then at that time, the chief executive would say, okay, we want to open it up, and then everything is mushrooming. And it's a lot of new challenges there. How do you balance all this type of different aspects?
I shall say, actually in China, the room for reform and opening up is still very large. I think it's getting even larger. But it really depends on individual institution, depends on the will and wish of each institution, whether to proceed with reform, whether to proceed with a different way of doing things. I truly believe so. I do think the Chinese Ministry of Education is encouraging, has been encouraging institutions to do things on their own, to have greater level of self-governance and self-administration, and if you will, academic freedom, for sure. So for Westlake, we seize the opportunity. We believe our lifeline is international, meaning take advantage of both the strengths in China and strengths from other nations. So we are learning from other institutions. At this moment, I also like to clarify one thing, because you are asking this. We have been compared wrongly, that we have been quoted wrongly that Westlake University is modeled after Caltech or Princeton or another private institution in the US. No, we are not. Westlake is Westlake. Westlake University, if you ask me what is Westlake University, Westlake University is who we are. We have 202 faculty members, 600 research staff, 1,200 grad students, 60 undergrad students, 240 admin staff. So together, we make up our university. That's Westlake University. We are not trying to model our own university after any university anywhere in the world. I believe we cannot do that because that will not be successful on Chinese soil in Hangzhou. But we are learning from other experiences. We are learning from Caltech, Princeton, Stanford, Harvard. We are learning from Tsinghua, Zheda, Fudan. We are learning from Hong Kong Polytechnic University. We are learning from all over the world to see what works in Hangzhou in China. But along the way, I think you can imagine when we decide to do just about anything, we have to persuade our colleagues. We have to persuade the local government and then Ministry of Education why the things we do is of value. So that actually takes time. So it is not a matter of support. It is a matter of patience. You have to patiently navigate your way through this, again, uncharted territory. I think that's the key.
Yeah, that's a great answer. And also clarify the rumor saying that you wanted to turn the Westlake University to be the Chinese Caltech.
No, Tia, let me elaborate further, because sometimes, we will be mistaken as the university that only conducts basic research. That's wrong. So we do emphasize basic research. Why? Because I truly believe, and my colleagues all believe, we will make headways at the very cutting edge frontier of human knowledge, contributing to theorem, to theory, to the discovery of novel theory. I'm not saying we will just rediscover or discover, general relativity type of, theorem, but I think we'll make our own contribution to, theoretical research for sure. But basic research is not the only thing. We are also emphasizing translational research. We do pay a great deal of attention to translational research. Again, we are whom we are because we have faculty members who are doing translational research. They are already part of us. So they are Westlake University. We are. So that's why. So we are not. So basically, you can extrapolate this way. Down the road, we might recruit astronomers. At the moment, we don't. We don't have any astrophysics scientists. I think we might, but not specifically astrophysics. Down the road, we might. So basically, we will be defined. We are being defined by who are here at Westlake.
Yeah.
So we are not trying to emulate others.
Yeah, that's great. Also, this is a following question. How do you measure the success of Westlake University in 10 years? And then when you have the student coming in and then graduate, how do you also measure the success of the students? And then how do you really see the letters for the promotion among the faculty members, etc.? So maybe you wanted to share some of your thoughts with us.
So Qingyan, you've combined quite a few questions into one.
Right.
Faculty promotion, student training, and success criteria, etc. So let me, focus on the success, criteria of success, because I think that probably hinges upon the other 2 or 3 elements. And in 10 years, I truly believe, Westlake University will make a major contribution. Maybe a major contribution means, of course, not a single discovery, meaning perhaps we'll make major discoveries in a number of scientific fronts for humanities. I keep emphasizing humanities and the global community because that is what Westlake University is built for. It is built, I think, for China and for the world. That's a key. So down the road, I'm sure scientists on the campus of Westlake will make key discoveries in basic research, in translational research, and in core technology, advancing human civilization, meaning not just solving, a major problem that faces human society today, but also solving problems for the future. To be more specific, or maybe to be more direct, how do you look at Westlake University? You may even ask, how do you compare Westlake University to other institutions? When I usually tell my colleagues, both on campus and elsewhere, Westlake University is small and will be small. We will never have 1,000 faculty members. We will never reach the size of 10% of Tsinghua or Zheda. We will never be a small Tsinghua or small Zheda. They have my greatest respect, Tsinghua and Zheda. They are great institutions. I believe they are the main forces of discovery, scientific research in China, down the road, maybe in the world. But what is Westlake University? We are not, in terms of scale and magnitude, so-called main, quote unquote, forces. But we are the vanguards. But we are the special forces. We can do things that are uniquely for us, that are not easily picked up by other institutions. So I'm not saying we are the only institution who can do that, but we are tailored, we are prepared, and we are ready to take on challenges of different kind. Basically, if you will, we like to, at the very forefront of human knowledge exploration, at the very forefront of technological breakthroughs, we don't emphasize numbers. Never ever have we emphasized have we told any faculty member how many papers to publish. We never. Even for any assistant professor on campus, they've never received instruction to publish papers. When they are up for promotion, tenure promotion, will there be a number for publication to be evaluated? No, will not. The only criteria is whether during 6 years on campus, he or she has made one discovery or one advancement in the exploration of human knowledge that cannot be ignored by his or her peers, that truly advances human knowledge. I think that's the only criteria. That criteria can only be evaluated by experts in his or her own field. So we emphasize, of course, international evaluation. We are one of few, if not the only institutions in China that offer fixed salary, annual salary for each and every faculty member. What that means is we don't have any type of, bonuses. We don't have any type of, if you will, financial stimulation for any paper, any patent, any recognition, any awards, any honor, okay? Be it, 长江学者, 青年千人, whatever you understand. So basically, we have a very simple, annual salary system that is fixed. So each faculty member receives fixed salary from the university. So I think that's an international norm. So we are the only institute, we emphasize commitment. What that means is, unless specifically approved by the university, each and every faculty member remains employed only at Westlake University. We don't allow joint appointment. I think that is an international rule, right? Let me not go on forever. So basically, by having these rules on campus, I think we have a very different culture on campus. So Qingyan, if you come to attend our faculty meeting in the School of Life Sciences, or School of Engineering, or School of Science, you might be pleasantly surprised. Everyone is here on campus. They are teaching, they are doing research happily. They are making headways, on the frontiers of human knowledge. So I think Westlake's success will be evaluated by the international community. And I'm confident that will come. Right. Along the way, I explained how we, retain faculty, how we train students.
Yeah, that's a great answer. Also, a related question from Professor Lin Bin, the Senior Vice Provost from the National University of Singapore. She asked, would you please like to share your talent recruitment and development strategies? Right.
I must confess, we have been hard hit by COVID pandemic. I must say, prior to 2020, we went frequently to overseas institutions, not just to the US, to Japan. We also went Europe. We also went to other nations. Basically, we advertise job opportunities at Westlake. It is true, we offer quite attractive conditions. And basically, we offer, internationally competitive startup package. Our philosophy is sky's the limit. So for any, I shall say, for each and every faculty member at Westlake University, he or she will get enough support to do whatever he or she has in mind, as long as he or she has ambition. Okay, so basically, research environment is our biggest strength. For those of you online students, postdoctoral fellows, if doing research is your dream, I think you should consider Westlake. I think we are the best in the world, environment-wise. Of course, we provide first-rate research research core facilities in all three schools: engineering, science, and life sciences. We have the best equipments, not just in China, in the world. Yes, I think that's a must for world-class scientists. So if you think about it, we have, exceptional facility support, exceptional startup package. On top of that, we want to make sure our faculty members will have decent lifestyle. They can stay in the lab, in class, and in classrooms without worrying about lifestyle. We also make sure all faculty members, no matter recruited from any, no matter recruited from any corner of the world, will not suffer lifestyle changes in Hangzhou. So by saying that, I mean annual salary, fringe benefits, health insurance, children's education, school choices, just name a few. So basically, we are observing international rules in terms of faculty recruitment. So, Qingyan, I can tell you, I was once talking to a, very established faculty member from Stanford. I said, why don't you come to Westlake, since now you are in the job market? He told me that, hey, Yigong, I'm too expensive. I'm too expensive for China and for Westlake. I told the person, let me not mention the name. I said, actually, you vastly underestimate Chinese institution. I'm sure Zheda, Tsinghua, Fudan, many can afford you. And Westlake, except Westlake will be more ideal. Come to us. You will feel it's better than Stanford in terms of working environment. You will be pleasant surprised that on day one of arrival on campus. Let me, he actually came to give a lecture here. He was pleasantly surprised. Let me not continue because you will be able to figure out who he or she is. Right.
Thank you. I mean, this definitely need a lot of resources. How could Westlake University sustain if you have to commit a lot of financial support to the faculty and students, etc.?
Qingyan, that's a very sensitive question. Look, many people are watching online, so I shall be careful with my answer. But I already actually spelled out the answer in one of my slides. And we are enjoying enormous support from two levels. One level is government. I can tell you, we are very grateful to the local governments. When I mean local governments, that includes the provincial government of Zhejiang. Of course, they are very supportive. Without Zhejiang government, I think we will not be Westlake University. We are very thankful to the municipal government of Hangzhou City. They are enormously supportive. And we are grateful to even the district level government, Westlake, Xihu Qu. They are as supportive as you can imagine, okay? So they are feeding resources to scientists at Westlake University. They trust us. They trust we can make magic happen, and we are. So they are giving us resources, not just by building a great campus, but also by, this presentation, I already closed that part. Actually, they are not just building a great campus for us. They're also giving us research money, okay? So I guess I've spelled out one level of support again. Next level, we have a great foundation, We Foundation. Keep in mind, it's we, us. Westlake Education Foundation. It symbolizes the greater Chinese society. It symbolizes all Chinese from around the world. By the way, we also have foreign individuals contributing to our foundation because they believe an institution of Westlake University type will serve greater humanities. So they are supporting us. Yes, we have donations from the US. A lot of them. Okay, so a lot of it. I shall not go too far. Coming back, Westlake Education Foundation, WE Foundation, despite its very young age of only 7-year-old foundation, it's ranked number 3 or number 4 in China in university affiliated foundation. But keep in mind, WE Foundation is not owned by Westlake University. WE Foundation is the founder, the sponsor of Westlake University. They represent the society. For those of you who are online from mainland China, who are online from Hong Kong, from Macau, and from Taiwan, you are also owners of Westlake University. I shall say, Westlake University is not owned by any one individual. It's not owned by any one enterprise. It's not owned by WE Foundation. It's not owned by the Board of Trustees. It is owned by the society. It is spelled out in our charter. It is truly owned by all sectors of society. So that's why Westlake University is very secure to go forward. We will be healthy and happy and well around on Chinese soil for as long as we have humanities, for as long as the world is still the world. Okay?
Yeah, that sounds wonderful. Because of the timing, maybe let me ask one more question. As a university, the student quality is super important. How do you evaluate the student quality? I mean, in terms of intake for the undergraduate and graduate, and how do you evaluate their work when they graduate?
Right.
And since you use English as some of the teaching method, do you take foreign students, non-Chinese speaking students at the Westlake?
Right. So, Qingyan, so the answers to these 2 questions are quite straightforward. Actually, because we have world-class faculty, we have 202 world-class faculty members. They take care of student recruitment. So their criteria is simple: scholarship. So they look at potential for undergrad students. They look at preparedness for grad students, for grad student pool. So basically, here on the campus of Westlake, when we recruit grad students, the interview is the only criteria. But keep in mind, the interview is tough because each incoming grad student is interviewed by a panel of experts, leading scientists in their respective research fields. Okay, for undergrad students, each undergrad student, meaning from high school, either Gao'er or Gaosan, basically they can be in their 2nd year or 3rd year of high school in Chinese high schools. They are also interviewed by a combination of staff, faculty on campus. They are being quizzed by exams, by questions that are designed to test their potential rather than their knowledge, designed by faculty members of Westlake University. So basically, our faculty members are here. That's why I don't worry. They know how to pick the best undergrad students and best grad students. So that's that part. The second part, I'm blanking out on the second part again. Remind me. The second question.
Yeah, the PhD students or undergraduate students work. How do you evaluate the quality?
I think I already answered that part.
Yeah, then I think it's done. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So sorry. Okay. I think due to the limited time, we cannot ask more questions. So, professors, you have done a wonderful job. Give us a very
sorry. You did ask a second question. That is, would we enroll international students?
Yes, that's
who
right.
are not,
I
who are
forgot
not
that.
Chinese citizens.
Yeah.
Yes, we do. Actually, starting this year, we are open our undergrad student application webpage to international students. We would like to have, as we would like to have a sizable representation of students, at both levels, non-Chinese, basically. Who speak, who are born in other nations, because we emphasize diversity, we value diversity. We do believe a culture of diversity, inclusiveness will serve our interests much better. So we hope students, who does not speak Chinese as their mother tongue will apply to Westlake University, so long as you value research, value science, and you value exploration in a different manner. You want to become part of a new university in the making.
Yes, that's really great. Again, I'd like to thank you, Emilian, for giving us a very inspiring lecture. We have learned so much from your vision, and your talk also will inspire a new generation of young faculty and students to pursue career, maybe also in Westlake. And this is a wonderful talk. Because of the time limit, so I'm not going to ask more questions here. Let me make an announcement for the pair next lecture. As you can see in this slide, our next lecture will be conducted by Professor Kathleen M. Muller, who is a Vice Provost and Dean of Research from Stanford University. He will be talking about the first new school in 70 years at Stanford. And this is the Stanford Dual School of Sustainability. So Mr. Dual donated 10 billion US dollar, quite a lot of money. In Chinese is 100亿美金, to Stanford to establish this new school. And this is also about the interdisciplinary research, and it will be very interesting. So I would like to have all of you to join our next major event. Then also in the following day, there will be a public seminar conducted by Dr. Yulong Wang, who is a member of the U.S. National Academy of Engineering. So we're talking about the entrepreneurship. So I hope that you could join us as well. So because of the time limit, and then we have to conclude here. Again, thank Professor Shi for making such a wonderful presentation. It's very memorable. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay,
Bye-bye.
thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.